Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. And before we get into the 20 minutes of Spanish with Nat, why don't we talk about the Lilo and Stitch trailer?
Sure.
You watched it, you almost cried, you said?
Yes, because we have a dog that looks very much like Stitch.
A little French bulldog, and she's a little bit sick, or maybe a little bit sick. So, but the Lilo and Stitch live action trailer actually looks pretty good, and I think there's a lot of hopes that it will pull magic out of the bag for Disney. But let's get into the 20 minutes with Nat.
Sure. And just a reminder, we're going to go on to Rumble after we talk about more cultural stuff to get into heavier political topics. The link is down below. Así es. Como empezó Guy ahora, el trailer de Lilo y Stitch salió hace unos días, me parece, pero apenas lo vimos nosotros porque hemos estado grave para la próxima semana y para esta. También mañana, se suponía que iba a salir hoy, pero como ya les he dicho varias veces, lo que me pasa es que vivo como medio día atrasada. Entonces, todo lo que según yo planeo para que salga al día que debería, pues sale medio día después. Entonces, perdón. Pero ya estamos mejorando, ya tenemos todo un calendario de producción, entonces para ser un poco más formales y eficientes y que todo salga como y cuando debería. Entonces, gracias por su paciencia. Y el video de mañana, aunque ya sé que probablemente todos van a salir de puente y se van a desenterar de todo el internet, como siempre pasa cuando la gente sale de puente, va a salir un video sobre la película de Mickey 17 que hicimos, la fuimos a ver, nos llegó un comentario de parte de uno de ustedes pidiéndonos que habláramos sobre la película de Mickey 17, entonces lo hice. Fuimos a ver la película y es exactamente lo que me habían dicho en el comentario, y la razón por la cual querían que hablara de la película es porque, pues, básicamente le tira a todo... Ay, ya ni sé, estoy viendo a esta cámara. Estaba viendo la cámara que no era. Le tira a los conservadores y a los de derecha, porque obviamente es a quienes Hollywood y todos los que rodean a Hollywood le tienen que tirar siempre. Ok, ya ahora que sí estoy viendo la cámara que va, voy a dejar porque con esta sección en español todavía sigo tratando de explorar qué hacer realmente. Entonces se me ocurrió preguntarles a ustedes qué prefieren, en especial para los que solo vienen a la parte en español, porque quiero pues no nada más ser yo y ver como noticias que trato de buscar justo antes del en vivo para hablar en español que sean diferentes a las de inglés. Entonces les quiero preguntar si prefieren que hable más bien de las noticias de las cuales vamos a hablar en inglés, pero en español, aunque sean más sobre Estados Unidos, el mundo, geopolítica y pues más chismes de Hollywood, producción, etcétera, pero en español, pero que sean básicamente las mismas que vamos a tocar en inglés, o si quieren que me enfoque más en noticias sobre México, Latinoamérica, noticias más cercanas o cosas que estén pasando más bien por acá. Entonces voy a dejar una encuesta que ahorita voy a empezar a escribir. Y no sé si las encuestas se quedan ya en YouTube. Voy a dejar la encuesta. No sé si las encuestas se quedan hasta después de que se acabe el en vivo. Según yo no, pero a ver. No le voy a poner acentos porque no tengo tiempo. Prefieren. A ver, ¿cuál será la primera opción? Noticias de sección en inglés, pero... Noticias extranjeras o noticias locales. Lo voy a poner noticias... Latam, México. Ok. Bueno, lo expliqué. Ahí me dicen qué prefieren para la sección. ¿Lo puedo editar o no? No. Bueno, es que prefieren para la sección en español. Entonces, díganme ahí los que estén, los que lleguen ya que estemos en la sección en inglés. También, pues, voy a seguir, dejarlo abierto hasta que se acabe el en vivo. Y también ya medio averiguamos cómo poner subtítulos en inglés, pero como muchos dijeron que por lo menos eso ayudaría, entonces lo que tienen que hacer es en el video del en vivo hay una cosita en la parte de abajo donde están todos los controles que dice CC y le pican ahí y ahí están los subtítulos en inglés. Espero que sirvan. Obviamente, ahorita que estoy hablando en español, pues no van a servir porque ayer vi ya después lo que estaba tratando de poner como subtítulos y no hacían mucho sentido, pero me dio mucha risa lo que salía por ahí. Entonces, ok, vamos a seguir trabajando y seguir tratando de mejorar todo el en vivo, el show, etc. Y justo porque les quería venir a hacer esta pregunta de qué prefieren en esta sección en español, si básicamente las noticias en inglés de las cuales vamos a hablar, pero traducidas y habladas en español por mí, o noticias más pues, locales de Latinoamérica, México, etc. Ahí está la encuesta y dejen ahí su voto y pues la que gane pues es lo que voy a empezar a hacer hasta que alguien se queje. Bueno, y como decía Guy, vimos el trailer o el avance, así le dicen creo en español, de Lilo y Stitch en vivo o en live action, o sea, con personas, pero también con animación, porque obviamente Stitch no existe, aunque nuestro perrito se parece mucho a Stitch, por eso cuando vimos el trailer, pues estuve cerca, no de llorar, pero como que sí me recordó, sigue viva nuestro perro, pero me dio risa, y pues como que creo que esta puede ser una de las pocas películas de Disney a la cual sí le pueda ir bien, porque hasta donde se sabe, han habido algunas controversias sobre que si la actriz realmente tiene raíces hawaianas y que si la niña también o no, y se enojan, pero es más como que no ha afectado tanto la película como con Blancanieves, por ejemplo, que ese nada más ha sido controversia tras controversia, y ahora también parece que en Blancanieves los cines o la preventa de los boletos en varios cines en Estados Unidos y alrededor del mundo están teniendo muy baja respuesta. Nadie está comprando boletos, ni siquiera para las funciones que son para los fans, donde la gente se disfraza y van todos pintados y se vuelve como todo un evento. También para esas no han comprado muchos boletos. Entonces, ahí van en 50-50. Me puse a ver la encuesta. Entonces, si no han visto el trailer de Lilo y Stitch, vayan a verlo, porque lo que fue bastante interesante es que, pues sí, se ve que va a ser no muy controversial. Me están moviendo la cámara. No está temblando, me movieron la cámara. También van a ver un aire que viene, porque qué calor hace en la Ciudad de México, y viniendo de Vancouver, ahorita vemos a cada rato la temperatura por allá en Canadá y pues está lloviendo. Ahí sí llueve por semanas seguidas y hace frío hasta como por ahí de mayo, y apenas como que sale el sol, hace un poco de calor y luego vuelve a empezar a llover. Entonces nos estamos acostumbrando otra vez al calor en pues, marzo apenas, y no ha llovido tampoco. Bueno, ¿qué estaba diciendo? Hoy sí estoy muy dispersa. Normalmente estoy dispersa, pero hoy estoy extremadamente dispersa. Sí, Lilo y Stitch. Entonces parece que esta podría ser un buen augurio para Disney. No sé por qué a veces se me salen las palabras flowery, no sé cómo lo puedo decir en español, pero bueno, de señora viejita. Y no parece traer tanta controversia como Blancanieves, y podría ser una de las indicaciones de justo lo que hemos hablado Guy y yo antes, de que las películas normalmente, la producción desde que se escriben hasta que salen, en especial si tienen animación, pues tardan varios años. Entonces ahorita lo que está saliendo, por ejemplo Blancanieves, aunque esa pues ya sí tuvo aún más tiempo de pre y post y durante producción, porque tuvieron que ir a corregir varias cosas, que si hay enanitos, que si no, que si hay que sacarlos, que si hay que meter diferentes, que si tienen que ser animados, y todo eso se tarda. Entonces el guión que fue escrito para Blancanieves fue durante parte del apogeo de todo lo woke. Entonces, pues es lo que estamos viendo reflejado en pantalla. Lilo y Stitch, probablemente el guión fue escrito hace 2-3 años, empezaron la preproducción, quiero pensar, hace unos años, pero tal vez ya, o sea, Blancanieves yo creo que viene de hace 5 años, diré 4 años, por lo menos. Entonces, ahorita chance estamos empezando a ver películas que ya fueron escritas y fueron producidas durante, ya que empezó como el backlash, como el enojo y como todos yéndose a lo anti-woke porque, pues, se dieron cuenta y se enojaron. Entonces, vamos a ver el resto de las películas como las que vienen este año y el próximo, a ver si sí nuestra teoría es cierta de que cuando empezaron a ver las compañías que eso ya no iba a pegar, pues lo cambiaron, pero apenas estamos viendo ese cambio porque se tarda mucho uno en hacer una película, en especial si tienen animación, en especial si son estas grandes producciones, igual con las series de tele, aunque esas tardan menos, pero también todo es un proceso muy largo desde que a alguien se le ocurre una idea y hasta que lo vemos en pantalla. Entonces, puede que sea una buena indicación. Stitch se ve, o sea, la animación de Stitch se ve bien, se ve buena, se ve cute y les digo, me recuerda a nuestro perrito. Y pues sí, todos hemos estado muy tentativos con Disney. Yo realmente ya había jurado no consumir nada más de Disney hasta o que cambiaran o pues nada más no consumir nada más, pero pues ahora sí vamos a ir a ver Blancanieves nada más para hablar y de traerles la reseña y decirles pues qué tan mal estuvo. Pero hablando de otro estudio, la competencia de Disney, parece que el avance de Shrek o el trailer de Shrek 5 también salió hace poco y pues las animaciones esta vez sí no eran lo que esperaban los fans. Se ven como que los trataron de hacer mejor, pero yo creo que les salió peor. Se han estado burlando de cómo se ve la animación en línea muchísimo. Shrek no parece Shrek, burro no parece burro. Y curiosamente, algo que me dio risa, y esto pues está en inglés y no lo puedo traducir porque es un video, pero lo voy a contar. En Universal Studios, que es el parque de diversiones de Universal, la competencia de Disney, de Disney World en Orlando, tienen personajes, algunos personajes, no todos obviamente, que por cómo son en pantalla y por ejemplo, Burro que dice pues, todo lo que se le ocurre, o el Grinch que también pues, es muy Grinch y dice como varias cosas, con Drácula también lo hacen, donde le dan más libertad a los actores que están interpretando a los personajes de decir lo que quieran, básicamente, sin ofender obviamente, porque siguen habiendo niños chiquitos, pero son mucho más libres de hacer y decir lo que quieran. Y tienen un burro, una versión de burro en Universal Orlando, y que es Y es un actor con un micrófono y es un animatronic, un monito animado, monito mecánico, no sé cómo se diga en español. Pero curiosamente también reaccionó este burro a el trailer y como que ya solo empezaron a tomar como a la ligera un poco Universal en vez de lo que hizo Disney con Blancanieves, donde se apanicaron y hicieron todo mal. Aquí por lo menos dejaron que burro le dijera a los invitados en Universal Orlando que burro en la nueva película se veía como persona sin casa, como homeless, y que normalmente la gente debería tener más cuidado cuando firman contratos de películas y que sea respetada la imagen. Entonces, claramente se están riendo, claramente están tomando pues la opción de tal vez tomar todo ese feedback, ¿cómo se dice feedback? Tomar todas esas críticas constructivas y tomarlo de forma constructiva. Y esperemos yo creo que probablemente sí, porque aunque ya está hecho, yo creo que sí pueden entrar, aunque sea un poquito, a cambiar algunas cosas de la animación. Puede que se tarde un poco más, pero pues todavía falta para que salga. Y si no, pues por lo menos se lo están tomando un poco más a la ligera que a panicarse y entrar en histeria y empezar a cambiar de enanitos reales a personas que se ven también homeless, curiosamente, y que sean criaturas mágicas diversas, y luego irse optar por animar a los enanitos con Blancanieves y quitarle muchísimo tiempo en pantalla a la actriz principal que hundió su película. Entonces, por lo menos están Lo están haciendo un poco mejor. También esta película hay rumores en ciertas partes, en redes, etcétera, y pues Shrek se sabe que ha tenido muchas películas que yo no sé si la gente las vio o no, pero allá hay toda una trama e historia detrás de todo lo que ha pasado desde la primera. Ya tiene hijos, sus hijos son adolescentes. Parece que hay una trama, pero no lo he podido súper confirmar, nada más he visto gente hablando sobre eso, sobre un personaje trans, pero no estoy 100% segura, entonces por eso no he dicho nada. Eventualmente también haré un video sobre la película ya que haya un poco más de información, pero me pareció chistoso y les digo, como hoy venía a preguntarles que qué prefieren en esta sección de español, pues no agarré artículos ni más pesados ni de lo tanto que vamos a hablar en inglés, porque también entiendo que sea tedioso ver la parte en español y luego escucharlo en refrito ya con Guy, aunque pues da otra opinión. La encuesta está en 50-50. Entonces, si alguien quiere durante el resto de este en vivo dar más votos y decirme de qué quieren que hable en español, sería muy útil. Les recuerdo, noticias extranjeras durante la sección en español sería básicamente lo mismo de lo que vamos a hablar en inglés, y noticias locales o Latam México sería pues más bien cosas que han pasado aquí y yo hablar sobre eso. Entonces, ahí me dirán. Ya se me fueron los 15 minutos, ya voy en 16, ahora voy en 17, pero muchas gracias. Si solo venían a lo español, por favor voten en la encuesta antes de irse, si ya se van. Espero que tengan una muy buena noche. Mañana sale un video sobre Mickey 17 que fuimos a ver gracias a que uno de ustedes nos pidió que habláramos sobre la película. Y ¿qué más? Y ya. La próxima semana espero que empecemos con el nuevo formato de sacar 4 videos a la semana más los 5 días de en vivo durante la semana. Entonces, quédense, suscríbanse si no están suscritos, aunque supongo que todos los que están aquí en el en vivo sí están suscritos. Y les recuerdo que ahorita vamos a hacer un cacho de este en vivo en YouTube y de ahí nos vamos a Rumble. El link para Rumble, que es una plataforma alternativa con más libertad de expresión, está en la descripción. Entonces, muchas gracias, buenas noches. Y ahora sí empieza en inglés, pónganle los subtítulos si necesitan y nos vemos mañana. That was it.
Thanks for the 20 minutes in Spanish. Okay.
It was like
what stories did you go over in Spanish there?
No, just a Shrek trailer and the Stitch trailer, because I asked everybody, I kind of wanted to ask what they prefer. They prefer me to speak and talk about the same stories we do in English and Spanish, or if they want just like more localized Latin America, Mexico stories.
What did they say?
It's 50-50, so I'm waiting for...
You probably got like 2 votes though.
I got 4.
4? Okay, that's not bad.
But it'll be those 4 that decide the future of the lives. So there's a lot of power in your hands. Yes.
Okay, let's get into the Lilo and Stitch story. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning there. Which camera are we on right now?
You did. We're main and now 1.
Okay, perfect. Okay, this Lilo and Stitch trailer actually looks really good to me, and that's coming from an adult that doesn't watch too many children's movies, and I don't really like Disney.
Did you watch the original Lilo and Stitch movie?
It was okay, but actually...
But you watched it?
A little bit
surprised.
Of it.
Because you were...
The live action looks looks a lot better than the original cartoon version.
No, the cartoon is good. The cartoon came out when I was young-ish.
But the character is just so lovable. So it was one of the modern classics that Disney was able to pull off, which was great.
Well, I mean, it was a little bit of stealing from Spielberg, but with E.T., but it is a slightly different story. And yeah, as guys mentioned before, I kind of cried while we watched the trailer just because it reminded me of our dog. Our dog is fine, but she looks a lot like Stitch.
Yeah, and I don't actually mind because this movie had to be written in the era of...
Well, that's also what I said.
Woke DEI, but...
That this one was probably written a little bit after, once the backlash started to hit, because that was 2 years ago. The backlash started 4 years ago.
No.
So they were conscious of it.
I don't think so.
They were.
This is a classic example of This is a classic example of when DEI actually works. When if you look at a lot of the Spider-Man films, things like that, they put their Asian in there, they have to put their Indian in there, they have to put their black in there. But with this Lilo and Stitch script, they're able to hit all their DEI quotas because it's all Hawaiian people in there.
Yes, almost all Hawaiian people. But I did say there has been controversy regarding even the casting. So the left actually got angry because both actresses, so Lilo and the sister, Nani, I think is her name. They first cast, I believe, one of this is still the same actress, the other one they changed, but they weren't like 100% Hawaiian, or they had like roots somewhere, but they were pretending or whatever. And then they changed some of the casting. I know, but that's like one of the few controversies it has had, but it hasn't had, I mean, the level of Snow White, for example, or the Little Mermaid.
The little girl actress that's in there, and at least in the trailer, man, she looks like a really good actress. And sometimes it's hit or miss with a kid. You put a kid in a movie with not much experience, and it can completely ruin the movie. But between her and the animations look absolutely phenomenal in this thing.
Yeah, and they look similar to the cartoon, which is actually a good thing. I mean, we get a glimpse of one of the, I think it's police officers, or the ones that are hunting, the aliens that are hunting Stitch once he lands on Earth. One is like a very long green one, and the other one's like a big fat one. And we get a glimpse of the green one, and he actually looks like the one in the movie, but a little bit more lively, or live action. And that's good, because when they try to do that with, for example, Sebastian in The Little Mermaid, the new Little Mermaid, or when they try to do that with, Sebastian is the crab, when they try to do that with The Lion King, I mean, the lions just look awkward and weird, like half talking, half not, real but not. But with aliens, it works really well, and the fact that they kind of kept it to what the cartoon looks like, I think works a lot better than, for example, Sebastian and Flounder during the new Little Mermaid, where they just look like fish, and it's weird to watch fish talking because it's too clinical, it's too biological.
Well, they kept the original creator of the Lilo and Stitch, and they were talking about taking him out. The fact that they kept him in there was a fantastic move on their part, I think. I haven't seen the movie yet, but so far it's looking very promising. And this was the problem. Like, you can make good DEI movies with a lot of diversity in there if the story revolves around characters that would naturally fit in that setting. The issue Disney really had is they started filling up these writers' rooms as well with DEI, and they weren't good writers, so they were just trying to shove random characters into this thing to hit their quotas. But this Lilo and Stitch, like I said before, I think I'm going to go see it in theaters for sure.
Well, yeah, and also because we got to review it.
Okay, do you want to go on to the next story? We're talking a lot about Lilo and Stitch.
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on.
So the next one is going to be Snow White. Actually,
we also talk a lot about Snow White.
Well, I got quite a lot of new information about Snow White today,
okay. So yeah, I talked a little bit about it in Spanish too, but inside Disney's Snow White troubles, which are many, they need to get this over with, basically, is what everybody's now thinking. And yeah, I mentioned in Spanish that a lot of the pre-sale tickets in a lot of big theaters in the States, especially the ones that are usually around LA, where all the premieres happen, where all the fan events happen, they're not getting almost any sales. I mean, in a theater for 50, 60 people, there's 10 tickets sold.
I got some more information about this. It's not just LA. This actually revolves around where Disney does all their premieres, and that's in Orlando, Florida. They have a movie theater it's the Disney World Movie Theater, and it's an AMC. It's owned by Disney, and all their big premieres go there. And usually every hour on the hour, like when Captain America came out, they're playing it every hour on the hour. Half the theaters in the cinema are playing it. That particular theater is only playing 2 regular cinemas, and 1 dine-in cinema is playing it, which is not a lot for a premiere at all. And all the AMCs nationwide are rolling back, just like you said, in LA and other things. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are looking at the show times. What they're finding is on the premiere day, which is Thursday, Friday, I think, mm-hmm. there's quite a few showings, but then when you go into the regular weekend, they're cut way back. Also, people are noticing Disney always does 3D because they want to start monopolizing all the theaters. Mm-hmm. So they want to be able to put their Snow White or whatever movie it is into the 3D cinemas, preventing other new movies from getting that particular cinema. This time they didn't do it. They're basically pulling the plug early. They know this is going to be a failure. Rather than have pictures of a bunch of empty theaters, they figure we're not going to play it in so many theaters so we don't get the bad press, but they're going to get major bad press from the ticket sales.
And I mean, here in Mexico City, because yes, I bought the tickets to go watch it so we can review it, the theater was also kind of empty, which is interesting because here, I don't know how much people, like regular people, know about the backlash that are not 24/7 watching anti-woke stuff. But yeah, it was surprising also here that the tickets were, I mean, all available. I think we were the first ones to buy tickets for that showing.
Yeah, and we did talk about it yesterday, but now I'm seeing the mainstream press really pick up on this, and they're saying Disney is pulling the movie from a lot of its own theaters because of the Gal Gadot, Rachel Zegler controversies. Gal Gadot has no controversies, so it's this Rachel Zegler controversy. They just don't want to say Rachel Zegler. Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's go into, I think
more Disney.
I think the next story is Disney as well, yeah?
Yes.
The next two stories are actually related with Universal Disney.
Yeah. So, again, from That Park Plays, go follow WDW Pro on YouTube. But, Walt Disney World annual pass down payment cut in half ahead of Epic Universe opening as execs look to save the summer. Because Universal Orlando, which is the theme park for Universal, always had, I mean, their rides were getting kind of old. They have, I mean, the magical world of Harry Potter, or whatever it's called, the wizarding world of Harry Potter, which I would want to go to.
Well, they have interactive wands now they're giving out.
They've always had interactive wands.
Oh, they have? Okay, yes. I was reading an article about it today.
I watch a lot about, like, the history of theme parks. I'm a weird person.
I hate Disney, so I like to read about things I hate.
But the annual passes are, if I'm remembering correctly, around $800 or more dollars. So, here we go. So they're changing it now, but usually it used to be, so yeah, around $800 to $1,500.
And is that for locals or no?
In Disney, I think you have to, for annual passes, you do have to have some proof that you at least frequently visit Florida.
Okay.
So people can't like snatch them up and then never go.
Well, I used to live right by Disneyland in California, and typically they have,
but it's different for
buy a day and get the year free. And this is a typical thing, sale they usually have going on, but Disney World not
anymore.
But I did see the regular ticket price for the Universal when I was researching this. Mm. What were what do you know what a single day price is for Disney World?
Hold on.
Because for the new Universal, it ranges anywhere.
So it's $34 per month for Pixie Dust Pass, whatever that means. They're lowering the cost of entry, so whoever wants to start going. Let me see if they put it in here. But no, I don't. It's around $200 and something.
Oh, it is? Okay, yes. I had no idea because the Universal passes were...
The thing is, they have fluctuating prices because it depends on what
That's kind of what I'm going to go into with this Universal right now.
Okay, but I was explaining about it, about Universal.
Go ahead and explain. Hold on.
So now Epic Universe is opening, which is Universal Orlando's newest theme park, and it's supposed to be like huge. It has a bunch of new different lands. It has Stop doing that. So it has Villain's Land, which is a first for a theme park. You're distracting me. And I'm just going to go to me. So it's a first for any theme park. They're bringing in more Harry Potter. They're bringing in properties that have done really well. So now Disney is panicking, and they're trying to lower the annual fee for the people that can go, that basically live in Florida, that can go more frequently. And they're going to panic because they haven't really done anything. And what Disney is doing as well, when they announced kind of their counter move to what Epic Universe and Universal Orlando are doing, is basically getting rid of a bunch of very beloved, again, like they did with Splash Mountain, very beloved properties, like the Rivers of America, which is that river that flows through... You don't care. Nobody cares, probably.
Yeah, I do. I'm actually going to give a counterpoint to this.
And they're also getting rid of some of the more western-y themed lands as well. So people were upset about that as well, just to open it up for more rides of newer properties that more people care about.
We were talking about this today about Universal. They actually meme and mock their own characters within the park, and it's rather clever.
Well, that's what I mean.
But what I was going to say is Universal doesn't really have the history, and even if they do, it's not the same kind of history Disney has. If Disney would lean into classic Disney and then sprinkle the new stuff they have, it would be magical.
And I think
but the left won't let them do it, or at least their politics won't let them do it.
Well, and their money. They think they make more money by putting in more of the newer properties and the thing, whatever that's hot, so the kids want to buy all the toys.
Yeah, but it sucks the life out of the theme park.
Yes, exactly. And one of the worst parts where they've done this, not only Magic Kingdom, but also in Epcot, where now all of the like international lands, so like Norway, etc., are basically just based around new IP. So Norway, instead of being, because it's supposed to be edutainment, you're supposed to get educated when you go to Epcot, but also entertained. It used to be a lot about learning about the world and about technology, etc.
Well, and then the House of Presidents and things like this, which
Yes.
they're talking about taking out now, which is crazy.
And just to get a cash grab and to get people that don't really know or care about the history, which are usually tourists from overseas. I'm just going to say it like that. They have a lot of influx of Chinese tourism, and they didn't like it when it wasn't the newest, characters that they just saw.
And I will say, when I did used to live next to Disney, there's another little theme park over there called Knott's Berry Farm. A lot of people don't know it, but they have all of the Bugs Bunny characters and things like that. And they really, really lean into historical things like the log ride and the old Bugs Bunny cartoons and all the characters. But it doesn't have the same history all those Disney characters have. So if Disney could really take a page out of Universal and Knott's Berry Farm and see what really works, because they have the ability to do both, which is really great. But again, politics is really killing Disney at this point.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, in a counter move, which is kind of what you were alluding to, Universal is now selling single-day tickets to Epic Universe, so this new land that is opening in May, this new park that is opening in May. And before, for like the pre-sale, they were only allowing people to buy multiple-day passes, basically, where they would be able to go one day to Epic Universe, and then they'd have to buy 2 or 3 days just to go to the other theme parks, which is Islands of Adventure, and I'm forgetting the other one. I know too much about this, but now they've opened it up to single-day tickets. So now for the summer, it's just going to be a battle, and they're actually making it slightly cheaper than Disney.
So the big thing about single-day tickets, and the reason they didn't want to do single-day tickets in the beginning, they want to lock you into the hotels at Universal and keep you there for the weekend. Now they've probably sold out most of their hotel rooms and things like that, or they're coming close.
Yeah, because they're opening like 3 new hotels as well.
Now the reason they're selling single-day tickets is because they want people that are going to Disneyland for multiple days in their hotels to come over for one day in Universal.
Mm-hmm. And
so the next year they can maybe steal them from their family vacation.
And they're making it from 164 to 189 June, August pricing, which that is peak summer, and while Disney is around 236 to 280 during those same dates.
And if you look deeper into the pricing, it actually starts at $139 at certain times of the year, and it can go up to just under $200 for the holiday season,
which is way cheaper than
So
Disney.
It's still way cheaper, and it's a much better theme park at this point. Now, if Disney was leaning into their classic properties, I would say maybe Disney's the better choice. But at this point, Disney's trying to make a new theme park, and they have the best new theme park that's just opening up, which is Universal.
And Disney is deleting all of its classic things that people used to go for and have nostalgia about. I mean, Universal really dives into the whole nostalgia thing with their Halloween Horror Nights. They do a lot of retro stuff where they bring out all their older properties. And Disney is doing the exact opposite, which is deleting all of the either park-specific things, which were reasons people used to go to the parks and still went and took their children for that nostalgia factor. Now it's just going to be new properties that nobody cares about because they're all woke.
Yeah, the nostalgia Disney has the ability to do is really placeholder all year around nostalgia with classic characters that have been there over 100 years. Universal doesn't have that same nostalgia, even in a more classic movie. It's just it's still too new. When I used to go to Universal Studios, because that was also by where I used to live, in Hollywood, you would have things like Fast and the Furious, Shrek, Scooby-Doo. These things can maybe go back to the 80s, but they don't have things that go back a true 100 years. Okay.
And speaking of still keeping it with Universal and nostalgia, the new Shrek trailer, Shrek 5, came out. If you didn't know, it's number 5. We're at number 5 now. And a lot of things have happened in the Shrek universe, but apparently also they all got Botox and facelifts and injection. What are those called? Fillers.
Because they reanimated them.
Because they reanimated them, and now they look kind of weird. But as Guy was kind of saying, Universal allows some of its characters, the ones that are more brazen usually in the movies, like Donkey, like the Grinch, like Dracula, they allow their actors to kind of go off script. They don't have to follow, they have to be respectful, but they don't have to, be perfect little, like in Disney. Asks everybody to be. So Donkey at Universal, the Universal theme park, Universal Studios actually came out and also started talking about how bad Donkey looked in the trailer. So they're kind of leaning into it instead of doing what Snow White did, which was panic and go into a hysteria and then try to delete the dwarves in Snow White and then bring them back and then make them animated. So they're kind of allowing it to be a bit more funny and a bit more, tongue-in-cheek.
I didn't know much about this movie. Actually, we're trying a new process of making videos where we're trying to pre-plan rather than just make it spur of the moment, that's how a lot of our videos happen. We do one at a time. Now we're trying to plan 4 a week, so hopefully in the future we'll get more. But when I was looking up subject matters, Shrek 5, this is 5, right? Shrek 5 came up, so I put it on the list. And then you actually had watched the trailer and you were telling me a lot about it with the animation, but also you were saying they have a transgender.
Well, and I said it in Spanish. I'm not 100% certain. I've seen a lot of people talking about one of the storylines involving, I think, one of Shrek's kids being trans or alluding to them being trans. I have to look into it before we finish writing that script. But yes, maybe it might have storyline that has to do with that. But we do have the video of Donkey roasting.
Well, hopefully the sound works.
Yes, it will work, but I'm going to mute us.
It will.
Did you guys watch the new Shrek trailer?
We did it. We did it.
Just saying, look rough. Donkey looks homeless. That's why you always get final approval for all your film and movie rights.
So yes, making fun, saying you should always get final approval. And I mean, clearly they're okay with it because they didn't come out to say, that they weren't supposed to say that. And I think that's the right, way to deal with controversies with new movies, with studios. And if people don't like what you're doing, kind of lean into it and become part of the meme culture instead of trying to fight it tooth and nail like Disney does and like a lot of other studios do. Good going to Universal in this occasion.
This happened in Disney as well, where you're having a lot of animators with not a lot of experience infiltrate the company, and it seems like that maybe is what happened with Shrek as well. Universal may have just got lucky with the property. It's the type of property you can lean into it with, where this happened to Disney with Wish, and it's a very, even though it's a kid's movie, it was the 100-year anniversary. There was a lot on the line with that thing, and it would have been really hard to lean in with that property. They're really, and you have to admit, Donkey is one of the world's best comedians with Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
So they got lucky with that property and the way they're able to kind of go with the flow here.
Yes, and funnily enough, speaking about Shrek, and this is going to be funny once you see the picture, apparently somebody that looks a little bit like Shrek has a new podcast. So Michelle Obama and her brother are about to launch a podcast. Who knows what they're going to talk about.
It's already out. I watched the first episode.
Launched a podcast.
I watched the first 5 minutes and it was horrible. I got to admit. I didn't even know
at least you said she looks like a woman there.
Well, yeah, because she gets made fun of. People call her Big Mike all the time, and you start to really believe it when you see the pictures and the memes and everything. But her wrists and her bone structure were a lot smaller. Her voice was really high pitched.
I'm still gonna call her Big Mike, but
yeah, it's still a good joke. I gotta admit.
And I mean, this amidst the whole drama of is she divorcing Barack Obama? Are they not? Is he dating Jennifer Aniston? So now a podcast comes out, maybe because she has a lot of time on her hands. No chefs to dispose of this time.
Well, she's actually doing the podcast with her brother, and it should have been with Barack Obama because people would have actually, I would have sat through the whole thing to actually watch that and see their opinions. I couldn't bear more than 5 minutes of this thing. And I'm somebody that sat down, and I usually can sit through longer podcasts. I got to admit, I keep saying it, but the Gavin Newsom podcasts are actually good. They got challenging guests. They're opening a dialogue to both sides, even though I don't like Newsom. Man, he's good at podcasts, I have to admit. Michelle Obama is not, and it's really, there's a lot of money pumped into this podcast, and it just looks orchestrated, much like Meghan Markle's stuff looks orchestrated.
And I mean, this one will be, just going through the guests. They're apparently going to be talking, so her brother, Craig Robinson, and Michelle Obama are going to be talking about entertainment, sports, health, and business. But a lot of the guests are the typical, woke factory machine people. Actor Issa Rae, which is insufferable. Keke Palmer, Tyler Perry, who did that whole movie about black people's bodies being used by white people that want to live longer. Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union. It is a woke fest, but it'll be interesting to see now in this climate, especially coming from a former first lady in the climate of Trump, what they're going to do, because she spent a lot of time a few years ago complaining about everything she's had to suffer and all the horrible things that have happened to her because of the color of his skin, even though she was the first lady of the United States for 2 consecutive terms, and how her daughters have suffered, and etc. So it'll be interesting to see how much victimization actually happens during this podcast and how much stupidity is said during the podcast.
It was highly sponsored. Rivian was one of the main sponsors. They say it right off the top, and there was a couple more
Rivian
sponsors.
Is that
electric
LA
car company. And there was even a much bigger brand. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, as soon as she said we're sponsored by this and this, it's like they're having direct sponsorships. They have they actually own a production company as well. And for a podcast that's too overproduced, it just comes off as fake.
Which it is. When all of these new people when all these media people start trying to come in, old legacy media people start trying to come up with podcasts and change it up because they see that this whole YouTube thing works for regular people. It works because it's regular people. They don't come off as regular people and they become insufferable.
Not necessarily.
Cue number one, Meghan Markle.
I will say, the Obama podcast was overproduced. You can tell they had a whole staff for lighting, for grip, for this, for that. But when you seen the Newsom podcast, it did have some production value to it. They added his AI voice to the intro in the beginning, but the microphone stands were falling off. They look like they had one guy off camera probably helping, and he came on camera, tried to fix it. So having those moments that lend authenticity, and it doesn't seem like they're editing everything out, really helped with Newsom.
And curiously, in Mexico, I've also noticed a lot of comedians and influencers here have podcasts, and they're all kind of produced by the same 3 or 4 production companies. So they all also kind of seem a little bit fake. And I think the best format for a podcast is one that seems authentic and put on by the people that are actually talking, instead of these, even though they're small, these production companies where they just kind of, it seems like it's in a conveyor belt. They're all just trying to do it to do it.
Yeah,
there's no reason for them to do it.
I will admit, this podcast kind of has or news show.
Yeah, this is not a podcast.
But it has a lot of production value, but we talk about it because we used to work in the film industry.
Yes.
And it's grown over time. If you watch our
it takes a lot of time.
If you watched our first videos from our channel, they were horrible. At least the production value, everything was.
That was also because when we were doing those first videos, we were working in the film industry, so we didn't really have time to perfect things. But
slowly over time, you see it come along, and it really lends authenticity to the podcast. If you watch the creators grow, not just on camera, but the production value that things they're able to learn about lighting, about grip, editing, all those kinds of things.
Yes, but back to the Obamas. I
the next story is them as well.
To House and Habit, Jessica Reed Krause's Substack, because she always has she's an independent journalist, interesting information. And I got an email blast from her, and I couldn't find it on the actual Substack, so I don't want to seem like I'm just taking it from the paid area, but apparently it says rumor confirmed. Yes, it's true. And this is basically like a blind item. A blind item is when there's
what happened?
Hold on. A blind item is when there's rumors, especially around Hollywood or celebrities, but they don't put the names, but they put a lot of descriptive things so you know who it is. So apparently an actress, like for months, she talks about a chef drowning. She has rumors of him and the actress haven't been just idle gossip. Apparently, it is true. It comes from a verified source that Jennifer Aniston and Barack Obama are an item, have been dating for a while, and it's not just a passing fling. So this just lends credibility to the fact now that Michelle Obama has more time on her hands. And we'll probably be seeing this story kind of come out within the next few weeks, because when blind items come this specific and come from trusted sources, it means it's probably from someone very, very close. So, I mean, at least that's one rumor dispelled.
Well,
or spelled,
there's huge rumors, and there's been for years and years that Barack Obama has been gay, and that his marriage to Michelle Obama was a cover-up marriage, kind of.
Or that she was Big Mike.
But so the fact that he's dating Jennifer Aniston now, I'm wondering if he's trying to cover it up even more. I don't know, but there's been a lot of whistleblowers coming out from that. Tucker Carlson had an interview with a gentleman, which was interesting, and there was people well before that as well. It's a not so well kept secret in Washington circles. But do you have anything else about this or no?
No, but speaking of dating. Apparently Tiger Woods, in case anybody's interested, Tiger Woods has been quietly dating Vanessa Trump, Donald Jr.'s ex-wife, for several months. Don Jr. seems to be okay with it.
Well, I will say...
And it's interesting because about the controversy with Tiger Woods.
I will say this. I think he had kids with her as well, but I'm not too sure. But I didn't even know who she was, so I looked up a picture of her and things like that.
She's pretty.
He's dated quite a few people. The people that used to date the Trumps, once they kind of leave them, or they're no longer with them, the Trumps, they're still within the Trump sphere. Yeah, they stay in the circle, yeah. And that being said, Tiger Woods won a presidential award the other day. It's one of the highest honors the president can award on a civilian.
It's like knighting someone for the British.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if it had anything to do with him dating her. But
maybe.
It was interesting at the time. But I do know... It's
interesting they gave him a presidential honor.
I do know Trump really does like golf a lot, and he really does like Tiger Woods, because when he gave him that award, you could really see he was kind of a fan as well.
And also because I'm guessing, I mean, he has had so many controversies, and funnily enough, the girl he's with now, so the ex-Trump lady, kind of looks like the girl he cheated on with his wife with, and like the wife. They all look the same. They're all blondes.
You know more about Tiger Woods than I do.
No, I don't. I do not like golf or understand it, and it takes too long. But
okay, why don't we kick it over to Rumble now? You can follow us.
I was going to do a quick teaser for Rumble. So the first story on Rumble is going to be about Candace Owens and the Daily Wire still going at it, still getting mad at each other, and how ridiculous it is for both sides, in my opinion. But yeah, we're going to talk about that on Rumble because it involves things we cannot talk about on YouTube, because it's... they get flagged because of the sides that they both support. But yes, join us on Rumble. We will be ending it on YouTube. As of now, the poll that I made did not work at all because it's still 50-50 as pertaining to what you all want me to talk about, if it's local news or the same news that we talk about in English but in Spanish. So leave it in the comments if you want to participate, because the poll will end as soon as I end the stream. Déjenme en los comentarios, si llegaron hasta aquí, si quieren que en los 15-20 minutos en español hable más de noticias locales, o sea, Latinoamérica, México, etcétera, o que básicamente haga las mismas noticias que vamos a hacer en inglés, pero en español, porque entiendo que para ambos puede ser tedioso, etcétera. But
did you have the subtitles on YouTube today?
Yes, I told people to try them out again. But yes, thank you so much. Have a good night, YouTube. We'll be here tomorrow. And yeah,
we'll see you on Rumble.
Yes, see you on Rumble. The link is down in the description.
Okay, let's get right into it.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Well, I have to make sure I end it before we jump into Candace.